Hey, good to talk about LBPH, good news biotech play. Um, if you've been watching my videos, I made a video about distinguishing, kind of low flow biotechs from more real companies,
Executed.
um,
Executed.
and kind of how it dictates price action, how it dictates what bias to form on a stock, right? So usually on these good news biotech plays, this is a 20 million flow. Market cap before this pump was 150 million. Now it's about 500 million. Um, 80% institutional ownership. So there's a lot of differences between a company like this and some low flow biotech. Do we have any low flow biotechs today? SNGX was not a biotech, but that's a good example of low flow fundamentals versus something like LBPH. Now, a lot of people would say, this is just phase one news, which is, not as nearly as meaningful as phase three, for example, would be more common in a high IO type biotech news play. But I mean, at the same time, I'm looking at the book and I'm looking at the price action. I'm looking at the bid, and I'm like, well, on good news biotech plays, they tend to have a lot of bids. They tend to be very grindy, and they tend to, have these controlled pullbacks and these big squeezes, right? So, um, I was permanent long bias on this, just permanent long bias. I'm no longer long. I took one long in the pre-market. I took a long in the pre-market that normally, right here. See if I can. Do I have my right here? I'm sorry if this is a little hard to see, but I would normally never long this in a low float, and the reason I would never long this in a low float is because usually when you have like an overly aggressive move, like this push off of support, in low floats, a lot of these aggressive moves off of support have very little continuation. Um, a lot of retail longs will chase the pushes, like the next push, like right here. Um, it'll go up maybe 1 or 2% and then instantly knife back into this area. That's a very low float pattern type thing. But I was telling my Discord, information down below about my Discord, but I was telling them, I was like, well, um, I wouldn't take this even up here just because of the fundamentals, right? I just don't like these thick float uh, biotech plays trading a bunch of volume with a bunch of bids. You know what I mean? I just don't want to do it. We've seen, Biotechs. I've talked over and over again how they're event driven, right? And you can make some general rules of thumb just based on market cap, based on flow, based on IO, and you can track news. You can see what news actually creates big moves. So hey, write this news down. Maybe phase one news isn't always low float fluff BS. You know what I mean? Maybe in certain contexts, in certain situations, it's quite strong. And also the daily on this wasn't that bad. It was mostly just consolidating sideways. Past couple years, like it didn't have that low float daily of something that's like down 99% on the year. You know what I mean? It's a real company with real funds, right? So it's not a low flow. And biotechs, these thicker flow biotechs will be easy to borrow, right? So shorts love to hit it because it's really cheap. The borrow shares. And they can have massive gapping percentages. They can have 200, 300% gapping percentages, and shorts want to get in. So, um, which actually leads us all to be very bullish, right? This is where gapping percentage can be bullish. This is where um, having cheap shares to borrow can be bullish, right? So, um, this is just a basic pre-market play. Uh, this is a controlled walk down. I've talked about on this channel that like these controlled walk downs where it's like a very symmetrical lower highs and lower lows. Um, is very bullish, especially in strong markets. We'll see that there's no big liquidity moves up here. There's no long traps up here. This is more of like a low float thing, but um, you know, these deep pullbacks like this just create all this empty space right here. So if you get a rotation, a strong rotation like this, um, there's chances for it to push. Now I actually sold most of it. I was up like 80 cents and I sold most of it. And then I held for high day a really small amount. This is actually not even that big of a. It looks like a big trade, but it really wasn't. Um, and then I did a second trade on the midday flag. We'll go over this. This was much more interesting from a chart paint perspective and much more interesting from a book map perspective. So we'll show you why I long this right here, and how I was able to time it before it squeezed. Um, it's the same book map reads we always kind of see on plays like this. So we'll move this out of the way. We'll uh, we'll type in LBPH here, right? So before I get into the book map, an important thing to always note is these painted levels, right? So if we zoom in right here, where are the lower highs? You always gonna be asking where the lower highs are, right? So there's one at 20, there's one at 20, and I said in my Discord on this rotation right here, there's this rotation right here, which is actually probably a much better long, honestly, like rotating out of this 18.85 level. Um, Probably a much better long, but when I saw this rotation, I didn't want to chase, but I was like, $20 is super painted. You could see how painted 20. So, from a low float perspective, this would actually not be a bad short. Like this hyper aggressive. So here's like support, VWAP support, straight up into a $20 clear out. Now low floats, this could just clear out $20. Maybe fake some strength here, um, and pull straight down. So actually, I should move so you're not seeing the side of my head the whole time, and pull straight down right here. But I was like, this is one of those. The reason I really wanted to talk about this today was this really shows the differences between how a low float stock moves with painted levels and how a thick float good news Biotech stock moves with painted levels, right? So something again going back to pre-market in low float land, this high relative volume push off of deep support, this will usually fake out on this candle, like this second little push, and then instant knife 30%. You know what I mean? Like, with something with this much range. But we get steady continuation, right? Steady continuation. And it's the same thing with this $20 level, right? This $20 level really painted. Usually you would just swipe it, fake some strength, and knife it straight down to, $14 or $12, right? If this was a low float, that has good odds. But in Good News Biotech line, I was like, I'm just going to be permanent long bias this stock, not look for any shorts, not locate any shorts, just be permanent long bias, and we'll see why. Once I didn't want to chase this move, but I longed at this move, right? Right before the push, and we'll see the book map read. So if we go to book map, um, go to the book on this. So we have that. We go to that $20 painted level. You can actually see this is the ask at $20, kind of holding this down, right? And here is the initial push that swiped $20 right here. So this swiped $20 right here. So that is this move. This move right right here. Right here, right? So, going back to the book, we see them pull it back and they restack 20 and there's no bids under it. So I'm like, well, I don't want a long here. Like they're just restacking 20 with no bids under it, right? So I see them completely take it out. You can see them completely take out the ask at 20. They pull it again. I'm like, all right, this should pull, right? I don't want to short because it's not my type of short, but I'm just watching it, right? I'm just watching it. And then when I saw it come back up here, this became really interesting because now that ask at 20 is a lot. It came back, but I was thinking that, okay, if they reject 23 times, And you also have to understand on these midday plays, stocks just take longer to break out. Everyone kind of expects morning volatility to happen at all parts of the day, right? The type of volatility you get at 9:35, 9:40 is not going to happen at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, right? Certain moves are going to take 10, 15, 20 minutes to happen, where at market open, they might happen in 1 minute, 2 minute, right? It's very common, right? So you have to be a lot more patient if you're going to be longing and shorting midday, right? So, um, and this is classic initiation, right? There's like they're testing 20, they're taking out the ask, they're taking out the ask, they're taking out the ask, they pull it down, they rotate it, and you see this a lot, and it's great when it happens when they throw a big bid right before the rotation. Once I saw that, this is where I went long, and this is how I was able to time it because from tracking bookmap longs, especially during these like longer periods of consolidation, where something might be consolidating 30 minutes or an hour or multiple hours. Um, where you're kind of out of the insane pre-market market open volatility period, and now you're in kind of like your slow grindy consolidation period. Um, the way these stocks often initiate, you can kind of see a mini one down here too. You could see a mini bid coming in to initiate this, right? And you see the same thing here, um, where it's consolidating sideways for about 20 minutes, and then they throw a big bid, and that's what causes it. And you could see the order book start to, it's so up outside of 20, there's nothing until they pulled this ask. Um, there's nothing until 21, and then you just had empty book past that, and of course you have all the stop losses from all the high day shorts placed there. So once I saw this come in, I'm like, dude, good news, Biotech. And a high tight flag with this painted 20 level, right? I'm kind of like, you're adding a bunch of bullish factors together, right? Uh, that is kind of all adding up, along with your understanding of bookmap reads to make a decision of whether to go long or go short, right? Um, and this is just classic stuff, man. They push it, and I sold actually most of my position just on the high day squeeze. But I was like, I'll hold on a little. I'm definitely not looking to short it. I was like, I'll just hold on some of my position, and uh, I'll just see where the rest takes me. And I actually sold the rest when this happened. Um, so here's high day. They pull back. They stack a really big ask. They take the whole thing out and knife it. And I think that's where I got out the rest of my position, right? And it was nice. I was like 20% on the rest of my. I probably only made like 12, 13% on this trade. But going back to the chart here, you know, I just wanted to make this video to help people distinguish what, something like SNGX, very low floaty type. By the way, I longed SNGX. This was a market open long. I was very bullish. This deep pullback, I was bullish. In this accumulation, I was bullish. But I was telling my Discord, I was like, I really want to wait for market open. Ideally, pull back into some bids. Um, and the volumes there. The bids were there. The bids followed this up when it knifed support, reclaimed one, and a bunch of bids showed up. I longed it. I was in the low ones. I sold a lot of it on this lower high break near 115, but I was holding the rest for high day squeeze. I thought this was going to squeeze shorts. Um, I knew there were bag holders in this from the last time it ran. It ran to $2 like a month ago. So I knew the push potential was kind of limited, but I thought I would at least squeeze the pre-market high shorts. And then actually what happened is they knifed it, and then they put like 50,000 shares at 1.13 right here. They took out on the ask. They took out the entire ask. It went up. It didn't go up at all. It actually stalled and then knifed again. So I just got out on that knife. So I actually made like, I don't know, 10 cents on it or something. Not 10, maybe like 12 or 14 cents on it. I actually did mostly longs today. Sadly, this ended up being quite a nice short, but it just be like that sometimes. But yeah, this is one of those tickers where it's just like this type of continuation of low floats almost never happens. Market open high, they clear out, that gets reclaimed. You know, $20 paint that looks weak but then squeezes, like this, like just steady grind. This is just like good news biotech, strong, real company stuff. This is how they trade. They're just grindy, they're strong, and some fund is accumulating and moving the ticker, and that's how it is, right? Just go back to look at SLNO. Look at this stock, man. Remember the crazy day in SLNO? This thing's at $40. This is that day it went from 3 to 30. It's up. It's up from 30. This wasn't some crazy Chinese pump and dump, going from 3 to 30 back to 2. This is real news with a real fun buying the stock, right? And LBPH, this is just consolidating. This is just consolidating sideways. There's nothing that crazy about this daily, right? Um, not a lot of volume on most days. Like, it doesn't look like a low flow daily at all. The fundamentals aren't low flow at all, right? And then strong market with doing these strong. Here's your quick pullback with this has been so bullish, man. These quick pullbacks have been so bullish. Um, and yeah, price action that would normally be bearish on a low flow being super bullish just because of the type of ticker. So, want to make a video on that. Uh, I'm happy with my longs. Normally I wouldn't be longing either of these in like a low float land, but they both worked and actually added up to a decent amount, so that was nice. And then I just had a small long on SNGX, and then um, I think that's all I really traded today. And yeah, and that's about it. So it wasn't a huge day, but it was all longs and all of them worked. And one of them, this one worked pretty well. I wish I held a lot more for this push, but I didn't. So, anyways, this LBPH. Know the difference between shit, POS Biotechs in plays like this, okay? And try to write down the news and try to keep track of, what meaningful news is and build that in your memory, and that should help you out. So, all right, you guys have a good one. See ya.